Welcome again to the second edition of the Global Youth Empowerment Summit 2022. And today is the second day of the summit, and our first speaker, she is here, Olajumoke Ogunbodede. Olajumoke is currently a doctoral candidate and a graduate teaching assistant in special education program at the Duke University, Pittsburgh, PA. She has a master's in psychology of education from Obafemi Awolowo University, Nigeria. She proceeded to earn another master's in applied behavior analysis from the Duke University. Olajumoke has been teaching students across the K-12 school system since she earned a bachelor degree in education from OAU. Before she moved to the United States, she worked as a general education teacher in a secondary school in Nigeria. Olajumoke is from Southern West region of Nigeria. As an instructor at the Duke University, Olajumoke teaches both undergraduate and graduate students. During the fall and spring semester, Olajumoke typically teaches classes such as Introduction to Special Education, Social Justice and Empowerment in Special Education, and Early Intervention and Child Development. Olajumoke not only excels in teaching, but also in research. Our research interest includes the issue of neglect, inequities, and social injustice towards Black students with and without disabilities across K-12 schools. Black girls with disabilities and academic behavior interventions using applied behavior analytic, urban principles, the neglect of minority group in other societies and the world at large, and has been a major motivation for our research interests. Finally, Olajumoke also does some research on investigating the sexuality of individuals with disabilities. Olajumoke is married, and when Olajumoke is not studying, she's either napping or cooking. Awesome, awesome, awesome. We are glad to have you here today, man. Awesome. You can unmute yourself.
Okay, can you hear me?
Awesome, perfect.
Okay, so that was.
So you have the floor now.
Okay, thank you so much. Good to see you too. Can I know. Can I share my screen right now?
Yes, you can.
Sounds good. Okay. Okay. So good morning, everybody. My name is Olajumoke Ogunbodede. Okay, so everybody, some people now call me Ogunbodede because I'm married to Ogunbodede, but my last name is Oshokoya and I still go by that last name. So before I start, I want to appreciate Mr. Didayo Adetiloye. I really want to say thank you for having me come here today to talk about a few things that I've learned in the past and to see how that may be helpful to someone today. I do not take this for granted. I appreciate the opportunity to always be able to share my experience and be able to help whoever wants to, needs the help. And that's why we are here. And I believe that today is going to be another time for people to learn and to make good use of whatever I'm going to be saying today. Questions after my presentation. And as I speak, I just wanted to take note of some things that you may want me to expatiate on as I move on. I only have 40 minutes to speak, but my goal is that I won't spend up to 40 minutes because I know that people may have a lot of questions for me after the presentation. So that said, I just want to dive in right away. So I want, like I said earlier, thank you to Mr. Dayo and his team. They're doing an amazing job. I've been here since I think 3:30 a.m. 9:30 a.m. So, and then I've seen how people have been coming in to the chat room, talking about what you learned yesterday. I feel like that's amazing. Thank you so much, Mr. Dayo and your team. God bless you. Okay, so moving on. And what am I going to be speaking of today? I'm going to be talking about making global impact in education, specifically how to become a global student. Moving on. So my agenda today, I will talk about the 2WH. That's basically my introduction. And then I'll talk about how to make a global impact in your education career and how to become a global student. And the big deal, like where I want to really spend so much time today, is how to get fully funded scholarships for graduate students and what it means to be an international student in any university in North America. And then number 4, I would like to talk about how to balance graduate studies and family, because that's the space I am right now. So I think I can speak to that a little bit. So let's dive in real quick. So the 2WH, who is Olajumoke? I said earlier, Olajumoke, you all had my bio. Basically, I had my undergrad, my first master's in Nigeria, Obafemi University. And then from there, I proceeded to the United States of America, where I started with as a graduate assistant right from, I think I started 2018. And this is 2022. That's amazing. I know. So I started as a graduate assistant in the Department of Special Education. I started to teach. I was doing my master's alongside my PhD. So because my master's in Nigeria was in educational psychology, and I was doing a PhD in special education. So I needed to do a master's in special education, if that makes sense, so that I can have a background to what I'm going to be doing as in my career. And then I moved forward from getting a master's. I started my PhD fully. So this is my 5th year of in PhD program. I'm working on my dissertation. That's the final project. And as I'm working on my dissertation, that's what I'm currently working on anyway. As I'm working on my dissertation, I'm doing other GA duties for my department. What that means is that I teach undergraduate and graduate students. But since 2021, basically 2020 into 2021, I started to teach graduate students and masters and PhD students. And then from there, that's where I am right now. So right now I do research, basically personal research. I do, I've been able to publish a few papers. I keep working on, publishing papers as well. And right now I'm doing my dissertation, publishing papers. My next semester I'll be teaching again. I'll be teaching an online class again. And that's basically what I'm doing right now. That's what I'm working on. And so when I graduate, or before I graduate fully, I plan to join the higher education and start to lecture as a professor here. And that's basically all about me. So let's move on. The first thing I want to talk about today is making a global impact in educational career. So my question will be, what does it mean to make a global impact? One of the things that I want you to know today is that you cannot make a global impact without understanding what makes impact in itself. I believe that this is something that someone would have dealt with yesterday, one of the speakers or all the speakers would have talked about. So I don't want to talk about what impact is and all of that. But then making global impact in education involves multidimensional capacity. What does this even mean? It involves global commitment, global competence, global dedication. And so if you say that you have all of these skills, do you strategically weave this into what you are doing in your education? I believe that I'm speaking to people who are probably working on a graduate program, who are probably preparing to do a graduate program, who are probably, in maybe college right now. Undergraduate college. So I believe whatever I'm saying will make sense to people today. So I'm saying that if you say that you are making global impact, how do you even make global impact if you don't understand the capacity that you need? And one of the 3 capacities that I've mentioned today is competence, commitment, and dedication. There are some few steps to note in order to develop these capacities. one of the first things I want us to note is that you have to recognize where your heart in your chosen career. You see, during the course of this presentation, I will give my personal experience, and then so that you can relate more with what I'm saying. I mean, I feel like if I keep talking, everything I'm going to be saying, there are things that you must have heard before, or probably you might even be the one talking to someone about it right now. So I'd rather, stay more on sharing my experience, if that will help someone, than having to give all these, grammar and all of that. But basically, the steps you need to develop, the steps you need to developing these competencies or these capacities is that you have to recognize where your heart. What does that even mean? You want to check if you have some career goals. So as a human being, or as a Nigerian, or as an undergraduate, you should be able to ask yourself at this time, what do I want to do when I graduate? And if you have graduated and probably you're working on a master's degree, or probably you think you're working and you still want to further your education, the question should be, how do I want to do it? Where do I want to do it? So for me, this question came way before I graduated from undergraduate in Adamawa University in Nigeria. I knew that I was asking myself questions as to what I was going to do. And as time went on, I knew that I needed to write out my career goals. So the writing down of the career goals helped me to understand where I wanted to be in 5 years from that time I was thinking about it. And then you may need to ask yourself a question. Do you even have goals at all? Even if you're in business, you are in whatever field you have, you need to have a written career goal. Like, you cannot have it in your head. It has to be written down. And I don't want you to forget this today. A goal that you have that you don't have written down is not yet a goal. Because let me tell you something, if it's still in your head, there's probability that you are probably going to forget it. So, but when it is written down, something propels you. You keep remembering that there's something you have to do because it's written down. And then once you have seen your career goal, you want to leverage on your skills. Because once those goals are written down, then you're asking yourself, how do I achieve these goals? Then you're leveraging on your skills. Some of the skills that you need to succeed, I'm going to be talking about those very soon. And after leveraging on your skills, you want to acknowledge the challenges you are facing or you are likely to face while you're working on your career goals. So for example, someone who wants to become a medical doctor, now I'm talking about someone who wants to become a medical doctor, gets into a Nigerian university, couldn't get an admission to study medicine, but was given maybe microbiology or biochemistry in maybe University of Abuja. And the person is getting close to graduation, and the person is not thinking of what he or she is going to do. Then the person does not want to become a doctor anymore. But so if let's assume the person is thinking of what he or she wants to do, and the person has it written down, and the person can ask questions like, okay, what are the challenges I'm going to be facing if I still want to study medicine? So those challenges, you need to deal with them head on as in, okay, so let's assume that since you want to study medicine and you know that you have a degree in microbiology, do you need to write JAM again? Do you think you might need to transfer to a school who will probably take you in your second year and then you can start a medicine program? Those are the challenges that you may face. One of the challenges that you may face may be finances. It may be family challenges that, so, but if you have them, your career goal written down, then you can be able to see that these are the challenges I'm going to be facing, and this is how I'm going to be addressing them. So moving on, having acknowledged the challenges, you need to make the most of the time you have. Time is never anybody's friend. Time waits for anybody. Each time I think about the days when I had the plan to, do a PhD, and then I remember that I even started a PhD in Nigeria before I left. I did my coursework. I was going at it, but I knew that time was of the essence. As we move on in this presentation, you will understand when I say time is of the essence. There are so many things you want to do as a student. Time will never, read my lips, time will never wait for you. So if you are slowing down on it, if you are taking your time, you are chilling, I'm sorry, you don't have a goal to achieve. I'm coming too hard today because, that's just what the field takes. The field is not for someone who wants to play around. the field is for someone who is ready, and then you want to take whatever you want to take, and you want to change the world as a global student. So moving on, what are the importance of becoming a global student, or what are the, when you want to make global impact in your educational career? What's the importance of it? Why should you even try to make global impact? Shouldn't we just sit down and have fun and everybody just chill, watch Netflix, enjoy life? So why should we bother? Especially as an educationist, as someone who has a career to pursue. So why should you bother? One of the reasons why you want to try to become a global impact in your career as an educationist or as a student is that the field you are going into is a competitive society. So with a graduate study, with something that will give you a leverage, that will make you better than your peers, that way you want to pursue that. Let me give an example of what it looks like in the United States here. So what it looks like is that almost 65% of the jobs in the US here requires a postgraduate study. That is to say, you need, I take that back, almost 65% of jobs here in the US requires post-secondary education. What does that mean? It means that most of the jobs we have here that would pay you what you need to get, you want to at least have a degree. Have a first degree, an undergrad degree. But then if you want to take it a step higher, you want to begin to earn more than your contemporary. You want to move it higher a little bit. Then you want to start to pursue higher education degree. That is, you want to get a graduate study, you want to get a master's, and then take it further. You want to get a PhD. So one of the importance of getting all these degrees that I just reeled out to you is that it's going to expand your knowledge base. What does that even mean to us as practitioners, as whoever, as students that is trying to break through in this field that we all are in? The fact remains that the skills that are needed to be global in your field, some of those skills are the skills you get in your graduate classes. You will get those skills when you take those classes in master's, in PhD level, whatever level that is at least above post-secondary education, above first degree. Again, let me just say that the higher you go, the better you become. I guess that's just the answer to the short sentence to describe what I've been saying. The higher you go, the better you become. So it's not left to you to choose. Do you want to choose the lower level and just earn the barest minimum, or you want to take it a step further and become better and earn more and make that global impact that you want to be? Because I believe that everybody on this live today, on this chat room today, everybody wants to make an impact, because if not, you will not be here this early morning. So I'm going to be speaking to us because I know that we want to make impact. So moving forward, when you get a higher education degree, say a master's or a PhD, you are likely to start to improve your soft skills. What are soft skills? So one of the soft skills that you need as a global student is communication skills, creativity, teamwork, collaboration, problem solving, critical thinking. And all of these skills I just read, they are soft skills, but they are skills that are very, very needed in your field. In whatever field you find yourself, you need all these skills that I've mentioned. I'm sure that speakers from yesterday must have mentioned it, because I saw that we had a speaker who talked about managing distraction. Some of these skills that I mentioned are the skills that you need to manage those distractions, because again, we are in a very, very busy world. And a skill such as critical thinking skills does not need distractions as such. So you want to be able, those are skills you will learn in a graduate class. Moving on, if you have a higher education degree, it will increase your job security. We all know that the world is shouting that there will soon be a recession. And one of the things to keep your job, apart from the fact that you are good at your job, you want to be irreplaceable. You want to be highly competent. And this competence that I'm talking about, you are most likely going to get them when you have a higher education degree. You have a PhD. It may be very hard for a company to lay you off because of the degree that you have. And especially when you have those degrees and you are doing well and you have shun away every distraction like we learned yesterday, it will be very hard for you to be thrown away. Another importance of getting higher education degree is is that it's going to expand your professional network. So let me speak a little bit about this. So when you come into a graduate class where you have your peers from different countries studying masters with you, some doing PhD, even professors from different countries, you are going to be gaining so much more. You're going to be understanding how to relate with people, how things work in another space different from yours. A lot of us, when we go to the United States here, or when we travel out of Nigeria to do a graduate program, some of us are thrown into that big ocean of where it takes time to get our feet. I remember the first class I did here in the United States during my master's then. Each time I remember that class right now, I don't remember if I learned anything at all in the class because I knew that I was in for it. There were so many things they were saying. The accent was another thing I had to deal with. But then, as time went on, I became better. I saw that, there's not so much in what they're doing. It's no big deal. I just needed to spend some time with my books and then speak out in class, and that was just it for me. You see? So in graduate education, in higher education classes or higher education degree classes, I'm speaking of masters, PhD, and all of that, you are likely going to be expanding your professional network so that when you graduate, you usually get information. Hey, they're employing in this company. Do you want to throw in your CV and all of that? And then another thing is that higher education degree kind of boosts your confidence. So it doesn't just make you a student. Your confidence comes with that degree. So for example, I remember that when I got my master's here, I think I started to see myself as, I saw myself different from the person who came in because something has been added to my cap. And then it was just different from just the degree that I had before. I had something different. And then I saw that, I could make a difference somewhere. I saw that things are going to, keep changing for me now because now I have something to bring to the table. And then once your confidence is there, then your success is so assured because you are getting ready, you are preparing, and then you have confidence. Automatically, you are going to be successful, right? So now let's move on to how to become a global student. This is where I want to spend a lot of time, and I hope I get to do that very well. So as I mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned earlier, education is an influential step in enhancing your skills and staying competitive in the society that we have right now. I said earlier that when you have higher education degree, it gives you that leverage. You are confident of yourself. But the question I want to ask today is, there are so many things that comes with being a global student. When you want to become a global student, that means you are taking yourself outside of your local zone. You want to show the world that I have something in me. And one of the ways to do that is that you want to secure a fully funded scholarship. So let me back up a little bit. I hear people traveling out, living in Nigeria right now, and then I hear people trying to look for money to pay for their graduate program. And I'm asking myself, what happened to all the scholarships? Why are they not getting scholarships? Do they think they can't get scholarship? But then I see that some of these people have not answered some questions I'm going to be posing to you right now. The first question is that you need to identify your why. I saw that one of the things that was talked about yesterday, as people were, coming up with what they learned yesterday, someone said you need to know why. And I saw that, I was very happy because it's the first thing I want to talk about today. If your reason for becoming a global student, if your reason for traveling abroad to do a graduate program is because you want to japa, I'm sorry to say to you, you don't know what you are doing yet. Let me explain what the word japa means. I don't know if I'm able to explain it well, but I think we all understand what japa means right now because I'm speaking to my people. Japa, from what I gleaned from what people have been saying, is that japa means that I just want to leave Nigeria by all means. Go elsewhere, become a better person. Whichever way or means in which I used to get there, I just want to leave Nigeria, right? So some people will want to go through the route of education, which is perfect and amazing. But the question is, if you are going through the route of education and the sole reason is because you want to japa, there is a problem already. But if your reason is because you are goal-oriented, if your reason is because you want to make a global impact as a student, if your reason is because you want your name to be heard in big places, greater places, if your reason is because you want to make your parents, yourself, your children proud of yourself, then welcome to this meeting. But if your reason is to japa, sit tight and listen and try to change, because in the long run, you will still japa, but you want to change that mentality. I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm speaking to people who are non-Yoruba speakers, but I feel like japa has become a general word or word in Nigeria right now that Yoruba, Igbos, and Hausa understand japa. So again, japa means you want to travel out of Nigeria by all means, by crook or by means, just want to leave Nigeria, right? So you want to identify at least 2 to 3 reasons why you want to travel abroad for your studies. If your reason, again, I'm going to say that again, if your reason is because you want to japa, change it today. But if your reason is because you want to make global impact, ask yourself a question. What country am I planning to go to? Which of these countries? There are so many countries in the world that will offer you what you want. Which of the countries do you want to go to? Which of the countries matches your career path? So take, for example, you are in STEM, that is, you are in sciences. You did biochemistry, you did engineering, and you want to travel abroad. You want to ask yourself a question. Which of these countries, all these countries that they keep mentioning, which of them would help me once I graduate? So you're asking yourself a question. Is it for profitability? Are you, the country you want to go to, are you likely to be able to get permanent residency when you graduate? These are questions you must provide answers to before you start to think of japaing. So if you want to travel to study, how do you want to get the means to be here? If your means is because, don't worry, my parents are rich, I can pay, that is good for you. But if your parents are struggling, or if you are struggling yourself, I'm sorry to tell you that whoever is coming here to study and the person is struggling to get school fees, it's already a struggle in itself. So you want to do all you can do to get a fully funded scholarship. And I can tell you that it's possible. It is possible. And I'm going to walk you through how to get it today. So another thing I want you to identify is your belief, because your belief will channel your path going forward. There are 3 levels of belief. There is logic, other people's success, and your own success. When you start to see yourself doing well, like I said, when I got my master's, I started to ask myself, oh, that means I can do this. I can be better in what I'm doing, So when you see yourself, getting success in a little area, then your belief will start to change and you start to get better in what you are doing. And this will help you to move forward. And then it will help you to become a global student that we're talking about today. Again, when you see other people succeeding, for example, you have a friend who just, wrote some exams, say, hey, I got scholarship. You're like, wow, if you can get it, then I can get it. That is a good thing to propel you. Again, it's not out of jealousy. It's not because you are envious of your friend, but because your friend is doing well. You're asking your friend a question, how can I be better in what I'm doing? And then, boom, you're becoming a successful person yourself. When your belief goes from your head into your heart, then you are ready to make a global impact. So it must move from the level of my head. It must come to your heart. So let me give you an example. Let me give you my little example of myself. Before I left Nigeria, I had a master's. I was teaching in a school, an international school in Nigeria. And then I was house mistress. I was fine. But I knew that there was a void in me that needed to be filled. So at that time, everything I was doing, I knew that I needed to take some exams as fast as possible. So my why, because I knew I needed a fully funded scholarship, my why and my belief. I saw my friends doing well. I saw my fiance then, now my husband, got fully funded scholarship to study in the US. He got scholarship again in Australia. I'm like, okay, so if he can do it, then I can do it myself. And then I got motivated. So I said, why multiplied by belief is equal to motivation, right? So once your why and your belief, once they meet, then you start to get motivated to do things. Another thing is that you want to identify your mindset. I know that Mrs. Bumade's lawyer is going to be talking about mindset a lot tomorrow, Sunday. So I'm not going to stay here at all, but I just want to leave you with these 2 things. Your mindset will make you or your pursuit of becoming a global student. So if your mindset again is to go and spite people, is because you want to take pictures and let it look like, oh, this is America, or this is Canada. I don't think that mindset is what you need to become a global student. That's what I'm trying to say today. Again, your confidence is the language of your body, number one. Your conviction is the language of your mind. Make sure that your mind is in sync with your goal. Again, we learned yesterday that we should not be distracted. So if you have a goal, do not be distracted by the pictures, because by the time you now get here, a lot of distractions are here. There's 24-hour electricity. Everything you want, you are likely going to be able to get them. Then you want to tell yourself that this is that you want to sit tight. You don't want to start taking pictures on the street of New York or wherever you find yourself. Then you want to identify your skill set as someone who is trying to become a global student. Your skill set is very important. A major skill set that you need is a communication skill. So depending on the career that you choose to find yourself, you need to communicate. So for example, if you want to travel here, you want to learn how to communicate with people, because sometimes the lecturers that you want to be working with, they are likely going to be calling you on phone, and there's a way you're supposed to be communicating with them. And then you want to learn how to write simple emails. So these are the skill sets you need. How do you try this skill set? You may just try to stop, when you are writing a text message to your friend or your parents or your spouse, try to reduce the way you abbreviate words. So that way, once you are writing a formal email to a lecturer or a professor here, it's going to be easier for you to flow. Try to learn different words. How do you write different words in particular countries? So for example, in North America, when we are writing behavior, we write our behavior as BEHAVIOR. But in British system, you will see that there's BEHAVIOUR. So those are simple things you want to learn. Again, they may not be an issue if you are missing them up before you get here, but once you get there, there's an expectation that you should have understood what works in your area. And then another thing you want to learn again is writing skills. Like I said, if you want to get a PhD funding or a master's degree funding, you want to be able to at least showcase a particular writing skills that you have. So let me tell you something. One of the things I want you to know is that a typical American professor, a typical outside the country, or when they hear that you are from Africa, some of them assume that Africans cannot write. Some of them assume that African cannot speak good English. That's a very wrong assumption anyway. But how do you prove yourself that I can write? How do you prove yourself that I can speak good English? Is if you have learned some of these skills. So you can start to prove yourself that you can write by your academic writing. If you have published a paper, that's good. But if you have not published a paper, if you're on social media and you are writing blogs, can you keep those blogs you are writing? Because they may be useful for you when you are trying to do your application. Moving forward, again, you want to polish some of these major mechanics that you need to become successful. Again, you want to identify your work ethics. So this is an amazing equalizer. For me, I feel like if you are the type that would prefer to work at night, work in the morning, whatever ethics work for you that will bring about productivity, keep at it, because it's a skill that you will need. Again, consistency does not always translate to quick success, but consistency most times is a pathway to success. So once you do something consistently, and then you put in your effort, you are likely going to be successful in whatever you are doing. You need to make sure that your efforts to work ratio is on point. So for example, you want to send an application to 5 schools. You want to make sure that you have all you need to send those applications to those 5 schools. You don't want to just be walking around and making calls without having those things you need. That's why I said efforts to work ratio needs to be on point. And so let's jump to what everybody wants to hear today. How to secure a fully funded scholarship for graduate studies in North America. So when I say North America, I'm talking about the 2 big countries, United States and Canada. So speaking before you today, I do not boast in myself. I give God the glory. Before I left Nigeria, I had 2 scholarships, one in the US here, another one in Canada, all fully funded. And that was when scholarship was not, that was when traveling abroad was not a common thing in Nigeria. But I remember that the first, okay, so I take that back. The second scholarship in Canada was a 1-year scholarship that I got. I got that scholarship for 1 year, but then I remember that I was told that if I had joined them in Canada, I could continue to get a renewed scholarship every year. But I decided to come to the United States because at that time, I mean, my husband is here. It was my fiancé then. So, and then I saw that here in the United States, I got 4-year scholarship funding here for all my years of my program. So it was a no-brainer for me. I wouldn't pick something that is just for 1 year over what is for 4 years, right? And then so I came here. But let me just start something. Let me say this. The method that I emphasize when you want to try to get a fully funded scholarship is do it yourself. That's DIY. I don't subscribe to paying people to help you get scholarship or get admission. I'm sorry, I don't like it because I never did it. But if you feel like that is what will work for you, by all means, please do it. But I feel like there are some things that, especially if you are coming to the US, when you do these things yourself, it helps you when you go for your visa interview, because the consular that is going to be asking you a question at the embassy wants to know if you know where you are going to, if you know what you are coming here to do. So one of the things I want you to do first, if you want to get a fully funded scholarship, is that you want to identify a related and lucrative course program that matches your career path. So let me explain this to you. When I was in Nigeria, of course, of course, you heard from my bio that I did educational psychology in my master's. But I knew that there was something more in me that was different from educational psychology, right? So when I was teaching in that school I told you about, I started to see kids that were struggling with their academics. Some could not spell. Some could not read well in that international school that I worked in. So something was coming up in me to help them do better, right? So I started to study about what it means for a child to be struggling to read in school. Then I saw that there's a course called special education that is not only to help people who are blind, people who are deaf. So there's some people who are struggling with academics that my degree can help. And then when I saw that then this is a field that I want to be in. So I started to read about it. And I saw that this is a course that is very lucrative in North America, all over the world, I must say, especially in North America. Most schools need special education teachers. Professors are in colleges, universities, they need special education teachers. So I saw that, wow, this is a course that's lucrative for me. And then I jumped into it. After you have identified the course you want to do, you proceed to Google. One of the things you want to do on Google is that you want to search for schools that offer the course you want to do. So what I advise people to do is that create a Word document or an Excel file. Let me show you what I have here created. So basically, this is what I advise people to do. Have a document that shows the name of the school, because by the time you search Google, you will find all these things there. So look for a school, the name of the school that offers the course you want to take. So this example that I have here is for someone who wants to study architecture. So the person has found that University of Waterloo offers masters in architecture. You want to write the course, the admission requirements, and the start dates. That is to say, the dates that the university is going to be starting your program, the application deadline, the link to get into that school, because there are some things that you may miss while looking for the requirements that the school may be asking you to get before you get in. Moving on, I'm sorry I can't stay on that document for too long, but I'm sure that Mr. Dayo can have this presentation to everybody so that I can help you as you work on getting what you want, what you need. So the next thing you want to do is that after filling out that document that I just showed you right now, you want to start to look for the information that they ask you to get. The first thing they will mostly ask you to get is a CV or a resume. Of course, we all know what that means. You want to make sure that is well written, tailored to fit the country you are going to. Again, this is something that I cannot start to explain how that works here because I have limited time. But I know that if you need extra help, Mr. Dayo can get to me and we can see how we can help you. We got, to help you package what you have and then get you out there. So the next thing you want to have is letter of intent. I recommend this for people who want to get a PhD program who want to get a PhD funding. So what is letter of intent? Letter of intent is you are writing to a particular lecturer that this is what I have. I can see that Dr. Olajumoke Ogunbodede, you are a professor in special education. And I see that your research interest is you're talking about issues of neglect with Black girls with disabilities or Black people. You're talking about disabilities and all of that. And my research interest is around special education as well. I am doing something on disabilities. I think I will fit your research group. Can you take me? That's what the letter is going to look like. So again, there are so many prototypes that you can find online that you can tweak to fit into what you want to do. Again, if this is something you want to do, we can see how we can provide you with some, template that may be helpful. And then you want to get your transcripts. This is a no-brainer. Get your transcript because your transcripts will show what you have done in the past and how you can fit into the program you are going to. Your research statement of purpose. Research statement is different from statement of purpose. Research statement explains the research that you have done in the past. Statement of purpose is a different one entirely, explaining why you want to do what you're doing. Again, there are so many examples of this online. Reference letters. Reference letters, I cannot even say enough of this. So reference letters, you just don't want to give the reference letter to anybody. If you have, of course, most of these schools will ask you for 3 reference letters. You want to make sure that you speak to the person that wants writing reference letters for you. Let me tell you something. In North America, they really prioritize letters or recommendation letters written for you or on your behalf. Sometimes they even give you admission based on that. So you want the person that is writing for you to write and sell you well, market you well. The person must write in such a way that this person is coming to the US to study in your department, and the person is going to be a plus for you in your lab or whatever you are doing. Another thing is that you want to make sure that you have your exams written. Some schools will ask for exams, some schools will not ask. But most schools in the United States, they will say, some may say that they're not taking exams, but I advise that you take your GRE and TOEFL. So for me, I took GRE because, again, these exams gives you the leverage, right? They show that you're serious, if that's the word. Then application fees. Again, some of these schools, you can actually ask for application fees waiver. They can waive some fees for you if you write a letter explaining why you cannot afford the application fees. And most schools definitely waive it for you. I can tell, at least I know of North American schools. If you write to them, telling them the reason why you won't be able to afford the fees, they may waive it for you. But some schools will let you. They will tell you, point blank that they're sorry, we cannot waive it. But not all of them will do that. So these are some go-to schools for scholarships in North America. And then I looked for schools in Canada who mostly give scholarships. All these schools, again, you will have access to this presentation and then you can see them. And then for United States of America, we don't have specific schools that you can be sure you get funding, but most federal and state schools, they will give you funding. Some private universities will also give you funding too, but you want to make sure you check their website very well to be sure that they can give you scholarships. So again, when I say funding, I mean scholarship as well. Again, this is I looked for this slide because I feel like it may be helpful for someone. This is a go-to cheat code to get into graduate schools in North America. So one of the things that I did was that I wrote to a professor before I applied to my school. Sometimes what you need is just one professor to give you a yes. If a professor tells you that I'm going to take you in my lab, I will give you funding, go and apply, then you are sure that you already have funding. So you want to write that letter of intent that I talked about in the last slide very well, such that it is catchy. It is interesting to a professor. Once the professor reads it, the person says, this is the person I want in my lab. I want to work with this person. Come, I will sponsor you. That's the way it works here. So you want to see what you can offer first. Again, you want to have a good research proposal, especially if you're applying for a PhD. I think you need a research proposal. Again, some schools will not ask you, but then if you have it, it's a plus for you. I said apply to R1, that's research and research 1 and 2 universities, especially for people who are in sciences. If you apply to schools in the USA who are those schools who are into research the more, you're likely going to get scholarship, right? And then complete your result evaluation. So for ND and HND graduates, or for people with BSc graduates with low grades, you need to first evaluate your result with World Educational Services, that's WES. So when you evaluate your result, it makes it easier for whoever is looking at it here to say, well, she must have graduated with a 2.2, but she did well in this number of years. This is the breakdown of her grade. The 2.2 may not mean anything again, because at least she did well in major courses that we want her to do well in. And that way, you're on the path to becoming a student here with fully funded scholarships. Again, take exams, especially for those people who want a scholarship, even if they are not required. Sometimes just take the GRE, especially that GRE exam. Then prepare solid application backups like letter of intent, like I said earlier, your CV, your statement of purpose, your research proposal. These ones have to be uptight. The other thing I want to talk about is the game of numbers. So again, the higher the number of schools you apply to, the higher it is for you to get admission and funding. So you need scholarship. You don't want to apply to just one school. If you can apply to 5 schools, 10 schools, please go ahead, because that way you are likely to get funding from those schools. And again, when I was trying to prepare this presentation, I found this great guy on Instagram. He does a lot of things as related to study. I saw that his website may be helpful, so I have it here. Again, Mr. Dayo can get this slide to you so that you can access whatever he has there. I looked at his site. I saw that some of the things I touched on today, they are there, well written there, and then you can, use them to prepare yourself as you move on. So I want to mention this. When you are deciding on the country you want to go to, for example, an international student in the United States, and you want to know this, you're only entitled to 20 hours of work within campus. So don't think that if you are coming here, after you get here, you will start to work and do everything. It's just 20 hours that's going to be on your visa. And that's the F1 visa that I have here. Another thing I want to talk about is that if you have a spouse coming with you, or your children that are eligible to work, I'm sorry, in the United States here, as a student, your spouse cannot work. So these are things you want to consider if you want to come to the United States. What I advise people to do is that if you are planning to come to the United States, you may want to let your spouse also get admission here. So that way your spouse can have that 20 hours of work as well. Again, another thing you should know about the United States is that getting permanent residency, the pathway here is very dicey. It is not as straightforward as what we have in Canada. So for Canada, the pathway to becoming permanent resident is very clear, especially if you get a degree from Canada. It doesn't say that it's not possible in the United States. It is very possible. But again, this is something that we have to talk about if you want to do this. So I don't want to waste our time by talking about all of this here today. And in Canada, for example, you have unlimited number of work hours within and outside campus. So that is something that might attract you to go to Canada. Another thing is that your spouse, your dependents can work unlimited number of hours. I guess the same applies to UK as well for now. Again, the path to permanent residence in Canada is very, very easy. And again, but how do you balance career and family? I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. Competence, commitment, and dedication. I mean, we cannot emphasize this enough. Another thing I want you to know is that once you are trying to balance career and family, you want to run away from final exam syndrome. Let me tell you what that means. So it means that once you achieve something, out of 10 goals, you achieve 2, and then you now relax, I've arrived, I'm here already. That is not something that will help you if you are trying to become a global student. If you want to make impact in your career, what you want to do is that you don't want to relent at any time. You don't want to assume that your effort will be, you will duplicate the effort you used to get those 2 goals to achieve the rest of the goals that you have. You want to keep working as if you have not achieved anything at all. Another thing I want to talk about is that you want to sustain your momentum. What does that mean? So you know that you're already getting your goals met. You're achieving your goals. You don't want to slow down. That's just what I'm trying to say. Keep at it. Another thing I want to say today is that You want to speak out your strength more than your weaknesses. So let me tell you, in the journey of getting your funding or traveling abroad, there are so many challenges that you face. You may apply to a school and they will tell you, we are sorry, apply later, or we have all that we want to send that we want to take already. The quota is closed. Do not get discouraged. That's why I said your why is very important. If your why is because you want to achieve something and you are sure that that's what you want to do, please keep at it. Another thing is that faith and fear, they're the same thing. It is just that faith is positive and fear is negative. So fear is a powerful emotion that sometimes we need it, right? Because it keeps us safe. But when we overprivilege fear, it may just keep us stuck in a place. But sometimes you need to decode when your fear is going to help you and when it's not, is going to hold you back. So sometimes that fear, sometimes maybe the healthy fear is going to keep you, in check. Again, the last thing I want to say is that prayer is key. Whatever religion you believe in, are proponents of putting God first. Because once you put God first, you are very sure that it's going to be a success. I think that's all for me today. I'm done with my presentation. Thank you. Please, if you have questions for me, I think
awesome session. This is a very great session. Thank you very much, man. The questions are already dropping like back to back. Thank you very much. So anywhere you are watching from our Facebook group, from our viewing center in Ondo State in Igbaroke, I want you to start sending your questions. Odebode says, beautiful presentation, ma'am. Beautiful presentation. Awesome. Just give that section one word. To you, how was that presentation? Just give it to one word. Very knowledgeable, beautiful presentation. Thank you, Mark. We got value here. Well done. Timitakwa say well done. You have done great, Ma. Awesome. Thank you for those generous comments. So we have the first question straight away.
Okay.
I have problem with international scholarships. I saw a scholarship of up to 10,000 euros for studies in UK. That is millions in naira. And I saw for $9,000. You still have to pay. Do you think it is too expensive, or don't you think it is too expensive?
So, thank you for that question.
So that you see it in the meeting charts.
Okay. Do you want me to speak to that question right now, sir?
You said?
Do you want me to speak to that question right now?
Yes.
Okay. So, please, sir, whoever wrote that question, 10,000 euros is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. So if you can get fully funded scholarship, I am all for it. It is expensive. So again, you want to sit down with this presentation after today and see if you can work on getting a scholarship, sir. There are scholarships in the UK, I know. But there are more scholarships in the United States than in the UK. So you may want to sit down with this presentation very well and see how you can get scholarships, sir. I think 9,000 euro or 10,000 euro is a lot of money. Is a lot of money. I do not advise that. Okay, great.
We have another question here. Someone said, for a presentation alone, I will do all I can do for the video replay and certificate is an invaluable piece. Okay, thank you very much, St. Michael. Does scholarship has age range, ma?
So I will technically say no, but again, it depends on your field. But I think it's a no. But you don't want to be around 50 something to apply for a master's, if that makes sense. So sometimes these degrees that we're talking about, they expect, okay, so let me say there's a particular age they expect that you are before you start to apply for PhD or a master's. So I think if you are still within the range, the age of 30, 40 something, I don't know of 40 something, but I know of 30s. I think you should be able to get scholarship. Again, don't take my word for it. Sometimes if you show a professor here that you have what it takes, they may not mind your age. So it is, again, everything boils down to how you're able to package your certificate, how you're able to package what you have, and boom, you are where you want to be. So again, age is never a barrier. I think I want to say that. It's not a barrier to getting scholarship. Because let me tell you, when we say this fully funded scholarship, sometimes the scholarship is that you want to come here and teach and be a teaching assistant. So again, it's not about your age. Can you deliver? Sometimes the scholarship is that you want to begin to work on research for the professor. The thing is that, is your age going to affect that? No. So age is not a barrier, I think.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that. So let's read more questions. Biodun says, beautiful and immensely informative. Thank you. Sikiru says, good job to you, Ma. Thank you. We have, how do we get the recordings of this presentation? All right, so once you make a payment of 5,000 naira, you get your certificate and the replay of all the sessions. So if you are not on the WhatsApp group, then one of our team members will also, Steven says, can you share opportunities for international conferences in Canada and US in business management and economics?
Okay, so conferences, when you say conferences, you mean academic conferences, I believe. So, well, because my field is in education, I can share only conferences in education. Those are the ones I can speak to. I know there are big, conferences, like, I mean, the ones in my field, those are the ones I know. I don't know so much about business. I know the ones in my field. I know a little bit of the ones in engineering because my husband is an engineer. That's why I know those ones too. So I really don't know for business, but I think if you search online, just go to Google, search for conferences, you should be able to find, good ones that you can be able to attend, So I don't know for business.
Okay, Temitope says, can we get this shared on the WhatsApp page? So we shared those information for you on the WhatsApp page. Mike says, thanks for the presentation. Please, my question is, I studied engineering in the university, diverted my career into education, and I have PhD.
Mr. Daya, I think I lost you. I couldn't hear you.
Okay, let me read it again.
Okay, thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, I studied a full scholarship to study education at the master's level in the US or UK.
I think I did not hear you. It went off.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Okay, so I will read again.
Okay.
I have studied engineering in the university, but I've diverted my career into education. I've had PhD in education to make me relevant in the field. Question, can I still get a full scholarship to study education at master's level in the US or UK?
Mm-hmm. Yes, so I will say that you are likely to get scholarship to study education in the US. So an example of a course you may want to think about is math education, science education. And let me tell you something, that is a field here that they always need people. So I have a friend who is teaching in one of the schools here, in secondary school here, and she's the only math teacher in our school, in the whole of the school district for middle school students. So if you have a master's degree in that course, like math education, you are hot cake already. All you need is just to get that master's degree, do some certifications, and boom, you are sure that you get a job when you graduate. So that is a good one for you. And with the PhD that you've gotten, if you package your application well, you are going to be showing the professor that, okay, so I have an engineering degree and I did a PhD in education, so that it will make me, it's showing that you are fit to be in the field. So that way they can give you TA as a job to, like teaching assistantship job, because you have shown that you know something about education. So I think it's a good one that you have done. That's a good step to it, to getting a scholarship. So again, look for courses like math education, science education, chemistry education, whatever thing that relates sciences to education is something you want to pursue. So I think it's a good one for you. I know about the United States. Again, I really don't know about how it works for United Kingdom, but I know that in the US, with what you have, you can get funding in that field I just told you.
Okay, that's a very good one. Because of our time, we have quite a number of questions here. So I will just go through them. So you just respond to them together. Okay. So that we'll wrap up today. Somebody says, I'm seeking for a scholarship in the US to further my career in the field of special education. Can you be my mentor, ma? Okay. So that's from Alade. Then another person says, does this apply for first degrees? Okay, so another question. My question goes like this. I have a brother that is keen on flying abroad to study, but he has a third class degree and accepted to improve his qualification to earn funding. My point of contention is, can he achieve his goal by attending online qualification like National Open University of Nigeria? So the person had a third class and wants to study abroad. Is it possible for such kind of people? Another person says, thank you for everything you told us, man. Please, man, I've been drafting an impact statement for a Commonwealth scholarship, but I discovered that their expectation is high. They even request a lot. Please, can I get a guide, ma? Okay, another person says, please, ma, what type of scholarship is good and right for an entrepreneur and skillful people? Thank you, ma. All right. Another person says, good job, ma. Can you please be my mentor, ma? I really want to further my master's degree in either Canada or US through funding, but having some challenges. I'm a chemical engineering graduate. Thank you so much, ma. It was quite an informative and educative presentation. From Facebook, which will be the last question, please kindly send and always the scholarship opportunities to my mail for me, especially the online ones. Okay, so anything our facilitator put together for us, we'll definitely get it across to you once you register for this summit. We have your email already, but if you didn't register for this summit, we'll send you the registration link again. We can only send information to those people that have registered. And if you take a step ahead to pay for the replay of the summit and also pay for the certificate, you are also sure to get everything that we have put together for this event. So over to you. So you can just use 5 minutes to wrap up. Then if you want to share anything, maybe if there's any platform you want them to read more about your work and things like that, you can also share. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. So real quick, somebody was talking about if it's possible to get funding for first degree. I have not found anyone who got scholarship for first degree yet in the US, but I will never say it's not possible, but I have not found anyone yet. Most of the people that I know who are here on first degree mostly pay for their program, because I mean, it's first degree. Let me tell you why it's hard for you to get funding for first degree. I mean, it's a lot of, in first degree, you technically don't know anything yet. I'm sorry to say that, like, you don't know so much in the field you are coming into. Again, we assume that even first degree students are still trying to test the waters. So what is this funding we are talking about? Professors having grants, and they feel like they need you to help you with their grant. That's the meaning of this funding. Or sometimes universities saying that, I need you because of your skill. Can you come and teach our students for us? Because we can see that you have something to offer. But I don't think another graduate can offer that. I mean, because someone with a first degree, I'm not sure they can offer that. So that's why I said that I'm not sure you can get funding for first degree. Okay, so I got 2 people asking if I could be their mentor. Again, that's possible if you Mr. Dayo sees it fit to share my contact. and you reach out to me and we can see how we can make that happen. Someone said she's planning to do special education. Another person says is in chemical engineering. The good thing for you is that my husband is an aerospace engineer. So engineering, there are so many, because before he left Nigeria, he was teaching in a university. And there are so many of his students that are here now, fully funded scholarship, all just because he would tell them this is what you need to do next. And they did it and they are here. All glory to God. So again, if you think that I fit to be a mentor, by all means, it's okay. Let's see how that works. Then you also asked a question about someone who had third class. I think I touched on someone with people with low grade for BSc, low grade or HND degree. So let me speak a little bit about this. Sometimes your third class does not really count sometimes. Let me explain myself. So if you take your exam, for example, let me give an example. Someone had a third class in mechanical engineering in his first degree, and the person wants to do a master's in mechanical engineering in the United States here. Sometimes this school, what they do is that they look at your transcript. They look at the last 2 years of your program. They look at the grades you have. That's why I said, if you have a low degree, a lower grade in your BSc or your HND graduate, the first thing you want to do is that you want to quickly evaluate your results. You want to evaluate your transcript so that when you send it to professors here, they will sometimes, most of them, especially schools in Canada, they will look at the last 2 years of your program. So they will look at the grades that you had in part 5 and part 4. Because why are they looking at those grades? They know that your part 1 and part 2, some of the grades, the classes you were taking at that time, they were general classes like Math 101, Chemistry 101. Those are general courses that may not have any bearing your trajectory as a successful researcher. They are looking at what did you have in your fluid mechanics? What did you have in that 300 level courses? If you are able to have good grades in those ones, then your results may count for someone with a 2-1. So they may evaluate those last 2 years, and you may be fit to get scholarship here. Again, all of these things have to do with the package. I like to use that word. How will you package the degree that you have? Even if you have a first class, if you don't package it well, you will be as good as you don't even have that first class at all. So when I say package, what did you have in your GRE score? Because having a third class does not mean you cannot pass a GRE exam, right? If you have a third class and you sit for GRE, you do well in the GRE exam, boom, you're even better than someone with a first class who had a GRE score, right? So package your exam, your letter of purpose, your statement of purpose, all of these that I've mentioned, then you may get a scholarship with that third class. That said, someone asked a question about Commonwealth, and the person said that they asked for a lot of things. The question I want to ask you is that what are those a lot of things? Because let me tell you, United States and Canada, they will ask you for a lot of things as well. So again, we need to talk about what those a lot of things that you're talking about. We need to, trash them and understand what they are really asking for. I know what you're saying. Some of those scholarships, like Chivney Scholarship, like Commonwealth, they ask for technically a lot, but I feel like it's something you may be able to achieve if you speak to someone who can help you look at it. The last question that I have here is that someone who said she wants to do something on entrepreneurship. There are a lot of courses that you can do here on entrepreneurship. What you need to do is that, remember that slide that I shared, that I said, go to Google. So that course, in fact, that entrepreneurship is not saying, just type on Google search engine, entrepreneurship master's course and United States of America universities or Canada schools. A lot of courses will come up for you. You will see the names of those courses, and you will see the requirement they're asking you. Remember that document I shared? Look at those documents, fill those out, and you know what you do from there. I think I have answered all the questions, sir.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
A round of applause, and let's give our appreciation to Madam Olajumoke Ogunbodede. A round of applause for him. Appreciation. I want to see it in the comment chat. just show your appreciation. We have to give extra time and tell our next speaker to just hold on a little bit, like there is something powerful that is dropping here. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. So we will get all the feedback and information you want to give to the participants. So if you are the one that is working on special education and all that, so you can reach out to me on WhatsApp. Ensure you register and join our WhatsApp group. Then you reach out to me. Then I will be able to do the connect for you. Thank you very much, everyone. So the next speaker is already around the corner. So I'm going to share his profile, and from there we'll show us what he has for us today. So this session, there are two things happening within this hour. Presentation from our keynote speaker. He has put together his presentation in a video format, and we are going to be playing that one right now after I've done his bio for us. Then after that, immediately, I'm going to show you how to access grants opportunity for your business. So once I do that, by 12, we'll have the next speaker from Sierra Leone. Aminata is also ready she's also ready for us. So from there, we move on today. If you have any of your friends that register for this event and they are not here now, just call them, let them, there's something they get when they interact directly, they ask questions, they get feedback for their questions directly from the our speakers and things like that. So thank you very much, last speaker. We really appreciate you.